What's good, YouTube? Back again with another video. And in this one, I'm the Buffalo Bills facing against the New Orleans Saints. You know, he's at home. He kicks the ball off to me. I don't really ever like to run the ball out of the end zone type thing, just because it's either I'll be always under most of the time. But first time using the Bills this year, I'm like, first off, usually the only thing I like to run as soon as I use a new team is I always run the ball first, just to see if because that's what I used to be all the time back in the old Madden. I used to just be a run first type player until I just a year or two ago I just started just throwing bombs and everything like that. Uh, Ended up doing this. I ended up throwing it. I was That was a terrible throw by me. That was a terrible decision making right there by me. But as he ends up doing that, I was surprised that he actually because usually some of the zones are broken so far at the start of the year. But as you see, I'm going straight to my money play to see if he's going to end up being able to stop this. If he doesn't be able to stop this, then basically I know the game is won. I end up throwing it over his thing, throwing it right to Stephon Diggs, run in between his defenders. I kind of got a little cocky about it and just believing in myself. As soon as I end up throwing a touchdown with this type of play, it's basically wraps. I know exactly what I got to do. I could just spam this the whole rest of the game if I wanted to. But I'm up 7-0 now. That took me 3 plays in under a minute to do. I believe that's the third time that I've done that so far this season or this year. My bad. As you see, he's getting the ball. He's gonna run it out with Deontay Harris. He's gonna end up getting tackled at about the 25, 24-yard line. Still first quarter, of course. He pauses it, I guess, just to see. I'm guessing he's making adjustments during this time when he ends up pausing it. So I'm like, all right, you're gonna make the adjustments. I'll be waiting for you when the end game. So he's sitting right here. I'm going over to my recent plays, and of course I'm always gonna put ball in the whenever the ball's in the air. I always want my cornerback at some point to end up running over there and catching it because there's something just about that. It just makes it go even better for me. Making some adjustments on the defense here. Ends up like with Jameis Winston. He's looking around and I don't know what he was doing there, but I guess my defense was just like that this game. My defense was so on point. You're gonna see in this video. This is probably the best defensive performance I've ever played in my life. As you see, it went from a first down and 10 to a second and 24. He ends up running the ball for only 3 yards, so it's gonna make it a third and 20. He's at his own 14-yard line at a third and 20 to start off the game. Your back is against the wall. You're basically right at your own end zone, damn near. He ends up looking. He starts to scramble with Jameis Winston. He ends up sliding. Ends up getting the yards back that he ended up doing. As soon as I see him do that, I'm like, yeah, the coverage my guys are in, there's absolutely no way that they would have been able to cover. And plus, he would have had another wide open run with Jameis Winston, and I wasn't trying to have that. 4th and 9. And he ends up throwing it. He throws it, and I'm yelling at this point just for them to tackle him. As soon as he ended up breaking off that first one, Michael Thomas gets the first down after a second and 24. Ended up making some more adjustments. Kind of messed up with the adjustments during the way right there. I have uh, I have my linebacker in the wrong position here. He ends up hiking the ball with Alvin Kamara. He ends up running in there for 9 yards. As you see, he ends up seeming like he's getting ready to run the ball right here. I'm making some of the adjustments from the defensive line in the correct spot. He ends up running the ball right here with Alvin Kamara. That there would have been a 3rd and 1 if the animation didn't end up popping up, but instead he throws it down. He's at his own 46-yard line so far. Still in the first quarter, the minute 15 left. He ends up thinking like he's gonna end up running it. He's looking around. He has no idea where to throw it. Jameis Winston throws a terrible ball. Even though if he would have caught it, I think he probably would have lost a few yards. So that was his best bet for the tight end. I believe that's Troutman to drop to not go after the pass, but he kind of quick hikes me in the middle of making my adjustments. He throws it to Troutman this time that he should have caught it the last play. He ends up doing this hurry up offense. I'm in the middle of making the adjustments. He ends up switching the play call. So I'm like, all right. He ends up running the ball right here with Alvin Kamara. Ends up running all the way down to my 34-yard line. Still in the first quarter. That's one thing that is very, very frustrating this year. And it's just people that end up quick hiking or hurrying up, doing the hurry up offense. I hit him straight up Marquez Callaway. That's the guy that went crazy in the preseason with the catches. I hope he could be able to do it in the regular season as well. But now we're going to the second quarter. He ends up just keep going into about the same formation: the two running back, one tight end, and two wide receivers. That's basically what he tried to run every single time. And then once I end up knowing, like, after the first drive as well, right after I see what they end up running a lot, then immediately I'm like, oh, okay, I know exactly how to stop him for the next time. So he keeps on getting these chunk yards of just running the ball. He keeps on doing this little run thing. He ends up trying to do it again. I just blitz him straight up the middle. That gap was just, both of my linebackers got in from both sides, which is really bad on their offensive line. But he ends up switching up the formation a little bit. He ends up making just a whole bunch of these different kinds of adjustments. And right when he ends up seeing it, he could have hit the guy, I believe, crossing the middle. But that probably would have been picked because that safety was over there. But it's another 3rd and 20. The second time a 3rd and 20 has happened on this drive. At this point, I'm like, all right, I know exactly what he wants to do. And I don't know what he was doing here. But you throw it into a middle of just every single defensive player is basically all the way out there. I believe that's 4 people, basically, maybe 4 or 5, all the way out there. And after that, it was basically just game over at that point for him. Go right past his, because he's on the defensive line there. So I ended up only getting about 3 yards or so. I'm looking at different kind of play styles to run. First time using the Bills on this season. This is also a play I used to always love to run a lot back in the day. I see him. I don't know what his players were doing right there, but if they were looking right at the ball, that would have been probably a pick 6. Thankful that they didn't end up getting it. But Emmanuel Sanders in there for a big gain of 36 yards. End up going right back to the run game again. I could have just ran right up the middle, but just it probably wouldn't have worked out so well. Got to gain about 4 yards. It's in the second quarter. It's 7-zip still. About to hit a 2-minute warning. He didn't think I was going to probably hike this at this point. I tried to catch him off guard. It did not work. I lost a yard after this on this play. 2-minute warning, 7-zip at his 49-yard line. And at this point, you already know that basically I'm trying to find right back to my money play again because I already know as soon as I end up going back to this money play, he can't stop it. He basically, I could have ran that and the other play I just ran that passed to Emmanuel Sanders the whole rest of the game and could have easily just beat him off those 2 plays. But I just decided just to throw right to Emmanuel Sanders again. He ends up getting caught. I'm down at his 10-yard line now after that. He's in Marshawn Lattimore's face doing his little celebrations and everything like that. So I'm like, all right, this is pretty easy. A minute left until halftime. He gets the ball after halftime. By the way, I end up just running the ball just for a few yards, about 4 or 5 yards, with Matt Breida. Then I'm just looking around, just different type of plays that I could be able to do. This play used to be so broken back in the day, but ended up throwing it right then and there, right to the. There was a flag on the play. Devin Singletary just says he's a grown man. He said he's a grown man. It ends up throwing a flag on Quan Alexander for the unnecessary roughness on the quarterback after the play. But Devin Singletary, as soon as I ended up kicking this, I thought I was going to be able to miss it just because of how far the bar went afterwards. But it was at that point I was just like, Devin Singletary breaking off tackles like that. I don't know what about this game, but this year the little running backs on the team, you don't even have to flick up on the stick or anything like that. They just break off tackles from just safeties and all that this year. I don't know why, but you see it's 14 zip, 55 seconds up till halftime, and like I said, this is the best defensive performance I've ever played. I already have a pick. I have a sack or so at the time. He ends up throwing it. I don't know what happened with Jameis Winston, but that time throw it right there to Micah Hyde. Basically just overthrew him by yards. He was standing at the logo while his player was standing at like the 40. So of course he's thinking he's got the money play up on lock. I throw the ball right to Stephon Diggs. Oh, go right past him. I get real disrespectful with him at that point. And I say, you know what? This guy is not doing very well. He can't hang like that. So I went for two, did the same exact play, and I threw it to Stephon Diggs again with his user directly on him. Like his user was directly on Stephon Diggs. But it's 22 to zip. Now I got 2 picks and a sack. As soon as you get 2 picks, basically, you just can call it wraps because if you know how to play the game right, the game is basically over at this point. It's 22 zip, 41 seconds right before the halftime. I'm making my adjustments again. And he ends up hiking the ball. He has nobody to throw to. I end up calling a timeout. I call a timeout immediately, get another sack. That's 3 sacks. And I believe he's barely even completed the ball. I think he's completed the ball maybe like 3 times. But he ends up hiking the ball again. I'm in the middle of making some of my adjustments. He's looking around. Everybody is still on lock. I call another timeout. This team might be my favorite team. I might be using this team a lot online. Or if anybody was to ever want to face me or anything like that, any of my subscribers, just let me know. Hit me up. He ends up basically trying to go for it on this 4th and 14. He ends up quick hiking it again. He's looking around. He's still looking. Everybody's covered, and he gets sacked again all the way back to the 3-yard line. So you just gave me a whole 8 seconds, and I'm at the 3-yard line. I have no timeouts left up on this 8 seconds. But yeah, this team might be my favorite team to use. Right in between his eyes. That should have been a pick, in my opinion, but it basically just wrapped at this point. I ended up faking it. Basically, I wanted him to the offensive lineman to try to go up there and get it. He ended up staying there. It's okay because I'm up 28-0, and we're not even at halftime yet. But yeah, if you ever want to run up against me, anything for a YouTube video, anything like that, my PSN name is yours truly, Toon. It's capital Y, capital T, then another capital T. Yeah, 3 seconds right before the halftime. He ends up hiking it. He's looking around, and he just. I was hoping he was going to throw me another pick. I was really hoping he was going to throw me another pick right there. But I ended up going right to the kickoff. We in the second half with it. 5 minutes, third quarter, just all I got to do is get a stop, basically. And I'm not going to keep running. I'm not going to keep on just sitting there and acting like I'm not going to run up the score on him, because if I could have, I would have probably put 70 on this dude. No disrespect to him, but he ends up he's running the ball down 28. So I think he thinks it might be back to the first quarter when he was just running the ball almost every single down. And then when he threw it that one time, he got picked. But at this point, I'm kind of just like, I don't really need to make my adjustments. And he runs again on second down. You're down by 28, my boy. You are down by 28. You're down by 28. And he runs the ball a third time. At this point, I almost went into game chat and would have said, hey, what are you doing? You down, like, bad. Like, you're just trying to waste the time or whatnot. He ends up hiking the ball. He ends up thinking he's going to see an open wide receiver, and Tre'Davious White with a game-sealing basically pick. He's out of here. You feel me? Hope y'all have a blessed day. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.